And welcome back to freebassguitarlessons.com. As usual, if you found me on YouTube rather than my website, the link to what I'm going to be doing is right there on my website, freebassguitarlessons.com. It's the major scale, but played in thirds. And I just thought it was a good little thing to put up. It's good to practice all your scales in different ways, and enables you to start seeing shapes on your bass when you're playing in a certain key. You know, you can visualize what are good notes, what are bad notes. And the way you start, doing that is by practicing scales. One of the most important things you can do, I think. The way that I usually do it is I practice with my metronome, which I'll do in a second, but I'll just play it for you quick. So here's the linear scale, right? The linear scale. Major scale, do, re, mi. We all know that. 2 octaves. Okay. It's good to practice scales in intervals because it gets you away from thinking from all the linear kind of stuff that you can do. And on a stringed instrument, one of the most difficult things about a stringed instrument is, jumping strings, right? From going down like that. That's really hard thing. We're blessed in the fact that it's easier for us to change keys because we just have to change fingerings around, and horn players have to press all kinds of different buttons and toggles and change their embouchure and stuff like that. But for us, playing fourths, fifths, thirds, that's the thing that really is more difficult for us as string players. So practicing the scale in thirds will kind of help you get your fingers around that. So we're going to put my metronome on. It's at 130. And again, the notation is on the website. I'm not a big believer in tab. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but I think tab just kind of stops people from learning music. So try and learn the music. Do yourself a favor. But the tab is there. It's useful in this instance because you need to know which frets I'm using on the fretboard. All right, so that's, if you can't read music, you can look at the tab. Let's start the metronome again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the more important one, I encourage you to learn everything in 2 octaves. Even forget about the 1 octave scale. 2 octaves help you get to really know your fretboard, enable you to get from down here to up here really quickly. Now let's do that. 3. And hopefully you could follow along the fingering there. Generally, the way that I practice scales, and I do this when I'm warming up, is I stick my metronome on, and I will do the linear scale, and then I will follow it by the scale in thirds. I practice major chords too, like this, and down. Almost. And starting to practice in thirds will kind of get your mind into thinking about all these different intervals and the way that you can make music with them. So here's the way that I do it. I'll turn that off for a second. I go around in the cycle of fourths generally when I'm practicing. So I'll start G, and go up to C, F, B, E flat. Sorry, that was B flat, E flat, B flat, E flat, G flat, B, E, A. Okay. Just like that, and I'll play like the first 3 or 4 scales, and you'll kind of get a feel for why, in the cycle of fourths they sit really nice in your ear. So they sit in your ear. I'll do them double time just to get through here. 2, 3. Now and then I'll go up to C. kind of all around the fretboard, and that's the major scale, and you do the same thing with a minor scale. Alright, and then you can get an Dorian, and I'm not going to go through those because I'll have to re-edit because I'll screw a couple up probably, but that's the way that you should do it, alright? And you should practice your scales in as many different ways as possible. Helps you become a more musical player, helps you learn the notes on your fretboard. Great exercise for your fingers. Do it with a metronome. Start slowly, work your way up, and I hope you enjoyed that. Ciao, take care.